I need to say something that's hard to admit. I felt more alone inside my marriage than I ever felt living by myself. And I'll never forget how it felt, trying to connect and getting nothing back. It's always something with you. That right there, that kind of moment, can make a home feel like a prison. Here's what she didn't realize: how good she had it, until she started taking advantage of it. I was providing. I worked. I paid all the bills. And I put her in a position where she could be a stay-at-home mom, take care of the kids, my son and her 2 kids. And at first, she did right. But over time, I started seeing something shift. She got bored. Bored with the routine, bored with responsibility, and that boredom turned into neglect. I'd come home and the house wasn't clean. The kids weren't even being fed like they should. She wasn't cooking. She wasn't handling the home. And it got worse. There were days I'd come home exhausted, beat tired, and she'd be over at the neighbor's house for hours. So I'm walking in the door after working, and I'm immediately on duty. And that's where the pressure started stacking. Because when you're carrying the bills, carrying the weight, trying to keep the home together, and the other person starts treating it like it's optional, resentment starts getting loud. And it wasn't just the workload. It was the energy in the house. I stopped coming home to rest. I started coming home to brace myself. There were days I'd pull into my driveway and just sit there, not scrolling, not relaxing, mentally preparing to walk into my own house. Sometimes I'd drive to a park and just sit in the car, dead tired. All I wanted was a shower and peace. But quiet felt safer than conflict. And that's when things get dangerous. Words start feeling like triggers. Concerns start feeling like arguments waiting to happen. So silence becomes the strategy. That's survival mode, not living surviving. And then it turns into something even worse. You start believing you're the problem. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should just keep the peace. That's the trap. Let me be clear. Marriage is sacred. Marriage can be beautiful when it's built the right way, with God first, and 2 people who respect the covenant. Fast to learn each other. Slow to commit, slow to marry. Because a covenant isn't a game. I went into marriage trying to do it right. But about a year in, it became clear what I thought I married and what I was living with weren't the same. There was anger, yeah. Anger that the family structure broke. Anger that peace felt impossible. But I never became the person wishing downfall. I didn't want revenge. I wanted freedom from chaos. I talked to my parents. I talked to my minister. They reminded me of faith, commitment, endurance, and I tried. I really tried. And to be real, the marriage didn't end because I gave up. It ended because she cheated. I found out, and I walked away. Because at that point I knew, going back wasn't love, it was returning to chaos. I thought the first morning alone would break me. I thought I'd wake up in regret. But the craziest thing happened. I breathed, like my chest finally had room. Silence didn't feel empty. It felt safe. Being alone is a circumstance. Being lonely is an emotion. And they don't always go together. There's forced isolation, and there's chosen solitude. Chosen solitude can be recovery. And one of the biggest advantages now is this: my mind is clear. Back then, my brain was cluttered managing chaos. Now I can think, I can plan, I can execute. That mental clarity is why my finances started moving faster. Debt started dropping quicker. Because it's hard to build a future while fighting chaos every day. I can buy what I want without conflict. Go where I want without an argument. Travel, grow, reset. Even working a job, I'm enjoying my life again because the weight is lifting. And once peace becomes real, standards change. No more negotiating with confusion. No more explaining why basic respect matters. Peace becomes the standard. People hear this and say, "You're bitter." No. Bitterness is staying stuck in hate. This is discernment. This is wisdom. This is protecting life. They say, "You'll regret it." But what's more tragic, living alone in peace, or living with someone and dying inside? Connection matters. Community matters. Purpose matters. But connection doesn't require a marriage certificate. Purpose and peace keep a man steady. My minister reminded me, success isn't one script. There are people thriving single, spiritually, financially, mentally. Single doesn't mean stuck. Single can mean focused. Wisdom is knowing the difference between solitude and loneliness. One is a season, the other is a symptom. A man doesn't fear being alone. He fears losing himself. Protect your peace like it's your life, because it is. So if life feels like fog, if home feels like pressure, if you're bracing every day, that isn't weakness. That's a signal. And here's what Kingdom Comebacks is really about. A man doesn't collapse because life hit him. He collapses because he stays in environments that drain him and calls it normal. Drop one word in the comments: rebuild. When you name it, you stop denying it, and then you can move. Being alone isn't the death sentence. Being drained every day is. Choose peace, then build from there.